mistakes and turns them into identity. It tells you that your past defines your future, that if it hasn't worked before, it won't work now. And slowly, this thinking becomes a pattern, a lens through which you see the world. And the danger is, once it becomes your lens, it becomes your reality. You start to expect less. You start to accept less. You stop asking, how can I grow? And instead settle into, this is just how life is. But your mind is more powerful than you've been told. It responds to the instructions you give it. If you tell yourself you're stuck, your brain will look for evidence to prove you right. If you tell yourself you're not worthy, your actions will match that belief. But if you start feeding your mind a new story, something remarkable begins to happen. Slowly, your inner world shifts, and when the inner world shifts, the outer world must follow. The key is to take full responsibility for your thoughts. No one else can do this work for you. You must choose to challenge every belief that makes you feel small, every assumption that keeps you quiet, every lie you've accepted as truth. Because thinking poorly is not just a mindset, it's a form of self-sabotage. It robs you of your potential before you even take the first step. And the longer you stay there, the more normal it feels. But normal is not the same as right. It is entirely possible that everything you've accepted as just the way things are is nothing more than a mental cage. Once you realize this, you are free to rebuild. You are free to upgrade your thoughts the same way you upgrade a system that no longer serves you. You are not a victim of your mind. You are its master. Fear of rejection, fear of loss. It's the voice that says, don't try too hard, you'll only be disappointed. Don't aim too high, you'll embarrass yourself. And over time, this fear becomes your logic. It shapes your decisions, your relationships, your effort. It convinces you that safety is more valuable than growth, that comfort matters more than potential. But that's the trap. Because poor thinking doesn't just stop you from dreaming, it trains you to settle. The danger is that once you settle mentally, you begin to accept everything around you as fixed. You stop asking questions. You stop imagining better. You stop believing that change is possible. And in that silence, you start building a life based on limitation. You take jobs you don't love, stay in relationships that drain you, hold back your talents, because somewhere deep down, your thoughts told you it was safer this way. But the truth is, there is nothing safe about being unfulfilled. There is nothing secure about giving up on yourself. That quiet life of poor thinking becomes a loud regret later. What you must understand is this. Poor thinking doesn't just limit your circumstances, it limits your identity. It tells you that you are someone who should settle, someone who doesn't deserve more. And if you listen long enough, you begin to believe it. But none of it is real. It's programming, it's patterns, it's repetition. You weren't born thinking this way, it was learned. And anything learned can be unlearned. The prison was never physical, it was mental. And the moment you begin to think beyond that fear, you'll feel something wake up inside of you. A fire, a hunger, a refusal to live another day under the weight of small thoughts. That's when you begin to rise. That's when the shift. Belief is the foundation of all achievement. It is the silent force behind every success, every breakthrough, every transformation. It changes how you walk, how you speak, how you decide. It gives you energy where you once felt drained. It turns obstacles into puzzles, not barriers. When you think rich, belief is not optional, it's required. Belief is the first currency you ever invest. Long before success becomes visible, belief must become non-negotiable. And the tragedy is, most people try to do the work without first building the belief. They take action from a place of doubt and then wonder why the results are weak. But when you build belief first, the energy behind your action changes. You stop hoping and start expecting. You stop reacting and start creating. That is the shift. and it starts inside. Because if you can believe in the future you haven't seen yet, your mind will start leading you toward it. The world follows the mind. Oh, words are not just sounds, they are commands. Every time you speak, you are giving your mind instructions on what to focus on, what to believe, and how to behave. They say things like, I can't afford that. That's just not for people like me. Or, I'll never be that lucky. But these aren't harmless phrases. They are declarations. They tell your subconscious mind what to aim for, and the mind, always obedient, delivers exactly what you've told it to expect. When you constantly speak from limitation, you reinforce it. You make your struggles permanent. You make your fears real. The more you say it, the more you believe it, and the more your life begins to reflect it. It's not just about positivity, it's about accuracy. Because the truth is, most of the limitations people speak are not even true. They are assumptions passed down from others, accepted without question, and repeated until they sound like facts. But you can interrupt that pattern. You can choose to speak a different language, the language of growth, of ownership, of strength. When you start saying things like, I will figure this out, or this is temporary, or I am learning to handle more, everything shifts. You give your mind a new direction. You begin to train your brain to look for solutions instead of problems, to expect more instead of brace for less. This isn't just motivation, it's rewiring. It's the process of teaching your mind to see the world through a lens of possibility. And once your words change, your actions follow. You speak with more confidence. You make stronger decisions. You show up differently because your inner dialogue is no longer working against you. It's finally working for you. And that changes everything. Poor thinking often carries a distorted view of wealth. It sees money as evil. It sees success as selfish. It whispers that wanting more is wrong. These thoughts are not truths. They are excuses. They are shields created by the mind to protect itself from discomfort, from growth, from responsibility. But the truth is, wealth is not about greed. It's not about materialism. It's about power. The power to live, to handle more. Everything shifts. You give your mind a new direction. You begin to train your brain to look for solutions instead of problems, to expect more instead of brace for less. This isn't just motivation, it's rewiring. It's the process of teaching your mind to see the world through a lens of possibility. And once your words change, your actions follow. You speak with more confidence. You make stronger decisions. You show up differently because your inner dialogue is no longer working against you. It's finally working for you. And that changes everything. Poor thinking often carries a distorted view of wealth. It sees money as evil. It sees success as selfish. It whispers that wanting more is wrong. These thoughts are not truths. They are excuses. They are shields created by the mind to protect itself from discomfort, from growth, from responsibility. But the truth is, wealth is not about greed. It's not about materialism. It's about power. The power to live, to serve more people, to create without limits, to contribute in meaningful ways. Wealth is a tool. In the hands of a weak mind, it may be wasted, but in the hands of someone strong, it becomes a force for good. Thinking rich means understanding that wealth is a responsibility. It's not something that just happens to you. It's something you must prepare for. You must become the kind of person who can handle it. You must grow into the version of yourself who knows how to manage more, give more, and build more. Poor thinkers see wealth as luck or chance. Rich thinkers know it's a reflection of internal growth. The more value you bring to the world, the more the world wants to bring back to you. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. When you truly think rich, You no longer wait for someone to hand you anything. You stop complaining, you stop blaming, you take ownership of your life because you realize that the world does not reward need, it rewards value. So instead of asking for more, you start becoming more. You stop begging for opportunities and start building them. You understand that every obstacle is a test, every challenge a mirror showing you what you need to develop next. This shift in thinking is what separates those who struggle endlessly from those who rise steadily. It's not just about chasing money, it's about becoming the kind of person who attracts it naturally, by who they are, by what they give, and by how they think. One of the most damaging habits of poor thinking is waiting. Waiting for the perfect moment. Waiting for permission. Waiting for motivation to strike. But the perfect time doesn't exist. There will always be uncertainty. There will always be fear. The mind, when trained poorly, looks for reasons to delay. It wants to feel ready before taking the leap. But success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who move. Those who decide that progress is more important than perfection. Action is the great separator. It turns ideas into results, dreams into reality. Without it, even the most powerful thoughts are wasted. You can think rich, speak with power, and believe deeply, but if you do not act, nothing changes. Rich thinking doesn't just live in the mind. It shows up in your habits, your discipline, your willingness to move forward even when the path isn't clear. And here's what most people miss. You don't have to feel confident to act. You become confident by acting. Confidence is not a requirement. It's a reward. It's what you earn when you face resistance and keep going anyway. Action builds proof. It gives your mind evidence that you are capable, that you can handle more, that you are not stuck. Those who rise are not always the smartest or most talented. They are simply the ones who stopped waiting. They didn't need a sign. They didn't wait for external approval. They made a choice to take one step and then another. Small steps compound into massive change. And with every step, your mind begins to believe in you more. Momentum grows. And what once felt impossible begins to feel inevitable. This is the truth that rich thinkers understand. You don't wait for life to change, you act, and life changes in response. Every move forward is a signal to your future self that you are ready, that you are serious, and that nothing can hold you back. Your environment mirrors your mindset. The people you surround yourself with, the conversations you entertain, the content you consume, all of it feeds your thinking. If you're constantly around negativity, gossip, fear, and excuses, it becomes difficult, almost impossible, to think rich. Because no matter how strong your mind is, it is shaped by repetition. If you're hearing failure, lack, and limitation every day, your thoughts will start to reflect that. You become what you tolerate. You absorb what you expose yourself to. And if your circle normalizes small thinking, it will feel dangerous to dream big. That's why rich thinking requires discipline, not just in your actions, but in your associations. You must be willing to protect your mind from anything that weakens it. That means choosing who you listen to. That means cutting out voices that feed fear. That means creating space for thoughts that lift you, challenge you, expand you. Because when you surround yourself with people who think higher, who expect more from life, who speak with vision instead of limitation, you rise to meet that standard. You start thinking differently, not because you were told to, but because it becomes normal. Elevation is a decision, and often it's a lonely one. Not everyone will understand your hunger. Not everyone will support your transformation. Some will mock it. Some will try to pull you back into comfort because your growth threatens their complacency. But you must not shrink to keep others comfortable. Thinking rich means being willing to feel misunderstood for a while. It means being willing to walk away from what is familiar if it no longer serves your future. You are not obligated to stay where you've always been. Your mind, your life, your environment, they are all within your control. And once you take that control back, you begin to create a new atmosphere, one that supports your rise, not your stagnation. The true wealth is not just measured in money. It is measured in mindset. It is measured in the strength of your character, the clarity of your purpose, the peace in your heart. You can have a full bank account and an empty life, or you can be building from nothing and still feel rich inside because you know who you are, where you're going, and what you're capable of. When you think rich, you stop chasing shallow success. You stop needing to prove your worth. You begin to understand that lasting success is built from the inside out, not the outside in. This is the difference that defines everything. Poor thinking focuses on looking rich. Rich thinking focuses on becoming rich. In value, in discipline, in contribution. The poor thinker wants the appearance. The rich thinker wants the substance. Because the rich thinker knows that true power isn't in what people see, it's in what you carry when no one is watching. Your habits, your mindset, your emotional control. These are the assets that compound. These are the traits that create results that last. Without them, money slips through your hands. With them, even setbacks become setups for growth. When you shift into this way of thinking, you begin to prioritize differently. You value growth over entertainment. You value wisdom over noise. You invest in your mind the way others invest in distractions, because you realize that your internal world sets the tone for your external world. Nothing around you will rise until something within you does. Thinking rich means you're no longer ruled by appearances or temporary wins. You're building a foundation. Quietly, steadily, with patience, vision, and strength. That's what makes you unstoppable. Not what you wear, not what you post, not what others think, but what you think, what you believe, and what you are becoming. Gratitude is one of the most overlooked tools in transforming your thinking from poor to rich. When your mind focuses on lack, it gets trapped in a loop of wanting more, never satisfied, always chasing. But gratitude shifts the focus. It rewires your brain to see abundance already present in your life. It trains your mind to recognize the good, even in hard times. This simple practice creates space for joy, confidence, and resilience, qualities that poor thinking can never nurture. Gratitude is the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. Rich thinking understands that every small win, every moment of progress is fuel for bigger success. When you start appreciating what you have, your mind begins to open to possibilities you never noticed before. It's no longer about what's missing, it's about what's growing. Gratitude also creates a sense of ownership. You stop blaming the world or others for your situation. You accept full responsibility for your life, with all its ups and downs. This acceptance is powerful because it moves you from victimhood into leadership of your own destiny. Most importantly, gratitude is a mindset that attracts more. When you appreciate what you have, you send a signal to the universe and to yourself that you are ready for more. It's not wishful thinking. It's a psychological shift that changes your brain chemistry and your emotional state. And when your emotions align with abundance, you act differently. You take smarter risks. You connect with better people. You create solutions instead of excuses. This is the invisible power that separates those who stay stuck in poor thinking from those who rise into rich thinking. Gratitude is not just a feeling, it's a strategic practice for transformation. The moment you decide to think rich, everything changes. It's not an overnight miracle. It's not a sudden windfall or a quick fix. It's a decision, a commitment to see yourself differently, to act differently, and to refuse the limits imposed by poor thinking. This decision is the most important step you will ever take, because once your mind begins to operate from abundance, confidence, and possibility, your entire life begins to shift. Doors you never saw before start opening. People begin treating you differently, not because you've changed overnight, but because you've changed inside. Thinking rich means becoming relentless in the pursuit of your best self. It means waking up each day with the question, what can I do today to grow, to add value, to move closer to my vision? It means refusing to let fear, doubt, or past failures define your future. You build mental muscles by pushing through discomfort, by learning from setbacks, and by embracing the unknown. The process is uncomfortable because growth always is, but it is also liberating because it means you are no longer controlled by scarcity or limitation. Remember, your thoughts create your reality. If you keep thinking small, you will stay small. But if you commit to thinking rich, if you commit to belief, to action, to ownership, to gratitude, and to elevation, you will build a life that matches the greatness within you. No one else can do this for you. The power is in your mind. It's been there all along, waiting for you to step into it. The only question is, will you? The moment you choose to think rich, you choose to live rich. And that is the greatest power you hold, the greatest wealth you can claim.